Liberating the Camps. In April 1945, the United States Army happened upon Ohrdruf, one of the subcamps of Buchenwald. Ohrdruf had originally held approximately 10,000 inmates. As at other camps, the majority of inmates had been forced to march out of the camp to other sites, with only the sick remaining behind. A large number had been killed, their bodies stacked in the neighboring woods or in rooms in the camp. The first American camp liberations shed new light on the state of Nazi activities and led to a new public and military concern. Members of the military, government, and press visited the liberated camps. General George S. Patton described Ohrdruf as one of the most appalling things I have ever seen, and refused to enter parts of the camp. U.S. General Dwight Eisenhower insisted upon seeing the worst of the atrocities with his own eyes, wanting to be able to provide testimony as to what he had seen if needed. General Patton ordered military police to bring 2,000 German civilians to the site to witness what had occurred. Eisenhower ordered American troop journalists, including Joseph Pulitzer, to visit the site. Many American journalists doubted the reports of concentration camps and the atrocities committed by the Nazis until they saw it for themselves. While Ohrdruf was appalling, far worse was still to come. In late 1945, U.S. troops approached Dachau. No one in the U.S. military was prepared for what they discovered. Near the entrance to the camp, American forces found 40 train cars, each piled with the emaciated bodies of men and women. After a brief battle, American troops were able to scale the fences and enter the camp. Once the soldiers entered the prisoner confinement area, they were horrified by what they had found. Even these troops, already used to war, raged and cried over the devastation at Dachau. They discovered an intact gas chamber and crematorium, as well as large numbers of dead bodies in varying states of decay. Each of the prison barracks designed to house 208 prisoners held more than 1,600. A small number had been forced on a death march in the days before the Allied forces arrived, but more than 30,000 living prisoners remained in Dachau. Bill Barrett, an American journalist, described what he saw at Dachau. There were countless bodies in the dirty boxcar, men and women alike. They had gone without food for so long that their dead wrists were broomsticks tipped with claws. These were the victims of a deliberate starvation diet. Guards were posted at the camp to keep the prisoners inside and maintain order while they waited for food and medical aid to arrive. The camp had to be quarantined to prevent the spread of typhus. Many of the prisoners at Dachau were not well, and in the days and weeks following the liberation, typhus took several thousand lives. Those who were starving but not infected had to follow a carefully prescribed diet as they regained their strength to avoid dying. Tuberculosis and other illnesses were also common in the camp. By July of 1945, the former prisoners of Dachau had been moved to hospitals and displaced persons camps, and the camp was used by American forces as a detention center for prisoners of war. Key dates. July 23, 1944, Soviet forces liberate Majdanek. Soviet forces are the first to approach a major Nazi camp, reaching the Majdanek camp near Lublin, Poland. Surprised by the rapid Soviet advance, the Germans attempted to demolish the camp in an effort to hide the evidence of mass murder. The camp staff set fire to the large crematorium at Majdanek, but because of the hasty evacuation, the gas chambers are left standing. April 11, 1945, American forces liberate Buchenwald. U.S. forces liberated the Buchenwald concentration camp near Weimar, Germany in April 1945, a few days after the Nazis began evacuating the camp. On the day of liberation, an underground prisoner resistance organization seizes control of Buchenwald to prevent atrocities by the retreating camp guards. American forces liberate more than 20,000 prisoners at Buchenwald. April 15, 1945, British forces liberate Bergen-Belsen. British forces enter the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp near Celle, Germany. Some 60,000 prisoners, most in critical condition because of the typhus epidemic, are found alive. More than 10,000 die of malnutrition or disease within a few weeks. British forces liberated other camps in northern Germany, including Neuengamme. All right, move on to the Google form to answer the questions in today's lesson.